The biggest healthcare conference in the world just happened. 24,000 people, 75 countries, every major tech company, healthcare system in one building. And there's one thing that kept coming up over and over again: fax machines. Mayo Clinic, one of the most advanced healthcare systems on the planet, and their chief clinical systems and informatics officer said on stage they still have to call other providers and say, hey, can you fax me those records? That is where healthcare is right now. And to be honest, when I worked and I was a temp data entry and I worked as the assistant to the data analyst over 13 years ago, it was the same thing. This was before EHR systems. And there's just some provider offices, especially the older providers, who just don't want to adapt. So we use fax systems. And even my friends in healthcare systems and clinics everywhere, there's still providers where you have to use fax systems or fax machines. It's crazy. And at the same conference, companies were announcing autonomous AI agents that can process claims, schedule patients, write appeal letters, navigate hospitals' hallways with robots, needing very minimal human involvement. So you have fax machines on one side and autonomous AI agents on the other, both happening at the same time in the same industry. So if you're trying to break into healthcare analytics, this gap is probably the biggest opportunity you have going into the next 5 years or shorter. Most people are preparing for this career, have no idea this is happening. And in this video, I'm going to break down what exactly happened at the HIMSS 2026 conference and what agentic AI actually means in plain English. Because if you hear this term in an interview and you can't explain it, that is going to be something that holds you back. I'm going to walk through 3 healthcare workflows that are getting automated right now and why this creates more analyst jobs, not fewer. And I'm going to cover cybersecurity angle that almost nobody's talking about in data analytics space, and it's quite quietly becoming one of the biggest compliance challenges in the industry. My name is Jeff. I've been in healthcare analytics for over 13 years. I work as a business analyst consultant at a top Fortune 500 healthcare company. I build automations, I build AI agents, and I'm watching those tools get deployed in real time. So everything I'm about to share comes from the public announcements, what is being reported in healthcare trade publications, but I'm also on a mission to help 10,000 people break into data analytics. And if you want, and I want you to be one of them. So if you're interested, just hit the subscribe button so I can help you out. Now, let's break this down. Before I get into what happened at the conference, I want to be honest about something. Over the past few weeks, I've been watching my Google feed fill up with healthcare AI announcements. Not just the usual stuff, but new platforms launching, partnerships being announced, companies I work alongside with and just been following, rolling out tools that didn't exist 6 months ago. Now, I've always known that I've needed to stay ahead of AI because that's part of the job. And when you've been in this industry as long as I have, you need to adapt as everything goes and with major trends. And even at my level, with 13 years of experience in healthcare, building agents on my own time and actively tracking all of this in the space, things are moving really fast. And I found myself going, wait, that's happening now, or this is the next thing to prepare for, or do I need to learn this? And if I'm feeling that and I'm in the middle of this, I can only imagine what it looks like on the other side of trying to break in. You're studying SQL, you're building dashboards, and you're focused on getting the fundamentals right, which you should be because it's going to help. But the industry you're preparing to join just went through a massive shift. So I don't want you to walk into an interview without knowing about it. So let's cover what exactly happened. So HIMSS is the Health Information and Management System Society conference. It's basically the Super Bowl of healthcare technology. Every major electronic healthcare vendor, every big health plan, every cloud company, they all show up to announce what they're building. This year it was in Vegas from March 9th to the 12th, and the theme wasn't subtle. You could guess where this is going. Last year's conversation was about generative AI. Can we use ChatGPT in healthcare? Is it safe? What are the risks? That conversation is over. This year, every major announcement was about agentic AI. And here's why it matters to you, because if you're studying healthcare analytics and data analytics to break into healthcare, you're probably focused on SQL, Tableau, or Power BI, Excel, and then some Python. Those skills still matter because your base level of skills, AI multiplies it and is a force multiplier. So the better you are, the better AI makes you more productive and more skilled. But the job you're preparing for, it's changing. So while you're studying for it, you need to adapt to what is happening right now, because people are going to stand out in interviews 6 months from now are going to be the ones who understand what happened and are preparing for it. Not because you need to be an AI engineer, but because every healthcare employer in the country is figuring out how to deploy these tools right now, and they need people who get it. And there's a lot of people who haven't learned it or haven't even learned the foundations of how to apply it to your own workflows to make you more productive. That's where this opportunity is. So let me walk you through exactly what happened and what this means for your job search. So, what is agentic AI for people who aren't familiar with the term? So, I mean in plain English, and this is not going to be the marketing hype that you're going to be hearing. It's a chatbot that answers your questions. You type something in, it responds. That's it. One step. That's not agentic AI. That is currently what AI chatbots are. Now, agentic AI means it has an agent tied to it. An AI agent is something that does the work, has tools and memory. And there's multiple steps that it will do on its own. Now, here is an example. So you go to the doctor, you get an MRI. The chatbot can tell you whether your insurance covers the MRI. An AI agent could check your specific coverage, verify the provider's network, flag if you need a prior authorization, surface the right clinical guidelines, estimate your out-of-pocket costs, all before you leave the office. Multiple steps across multiple systems without a human needing to touch each one. Also, granted that the AI agent has the memory, has access to all the tools. At HIMSS, Accenture framed it in this way. In the old model, humans are in the loop, meaning that the human does the work, AI assists. In the new model, humans are above the loop. Humans set the strategy, the expectations, the agents handle the execution. That's also what I've been seeing as I've been learning with AI, and everything is dramatically going at a fast pace. But that's always what I believed, is that you're going to be more of a director role, guiding these AI and these AI teams, instead of being inside the execution role of having to know the syntax and having to write the code yourself, because the AI models are getting better. And here's the thing. There was a study published in JAMA. Roughly 25% of all healthcare spending in the US is considered waste. And the biggest category of this waste is administrative work, paperwork, not patient care. So that's the target of AI agents, or at least that is one of the biggest opportunities. Now, let's talk about 3 specific workflows that dominated HIMSS, because these are not future predictions, these are actually live. So this is where the money flows inside healthcare. Number 1, claims processing and revenue cycle. If you've been following this channel ever since I started to talk more about healthcare, one of the places that I've always talked about is claims and understanding revenue cycle. The other one would be also quality. This is where money flows inside healthcare, so that's why it's important to know this. And if you can understand this, you have opportunities to grow with inside healthcare data. So basically, you want to think about a provider delivers care, they submit a claim, wait to get paid. That sounds simple, but it's actually a lot more complicated than it sounds, because 15% of claims that get submitted to private payers, so think like insurance companies, get denied the first time according to data from Premier. And here's the kicker. The final denial rate for actually medically necessary issues is a tiny percentage. The rest is administrative friction. That means the people who are submitting the paperwork, wrong codes, missing information, paperwork error. So the provider that some of these patients and members are with might not be getting care because their provider is making mistakes, or it could be mistakes on the other side. So this is where AI can help with the whole entire system, because one platform that was all over HIMSS was Optum Real. This is an AI powered claim system that connects payers and providers in real time before a claim is even created. Their pilot results reported up to 80% reduction in avoidable claims and a 75% drop in reimbursement errors. They just expanded their partnership with Microsoft to layer in more AI capabilities. This is just one company. Other companies at HIMSS announce AI agents autonomously review denied claims, to pull medical documentation, to draft appeal letters, submit them to payers with no human writing the appeal. The AI agent was doing it. For someone trying to break in, here is what to take away. Revenue cycle management, claims analytics is one of the fastest growing areas in healthcare data work. Organizations are building these systems that need analysts who understand both data and how these healthcare AI workflows operate. The combination is what they're looking for, and most candidates don't have it. Now, number two, patient scheduling and access. One speaker reported deployment where AI handles 80% of inbound patient calls are now handled by conversational AI. So think about scheduling, triage, information gathering, no human on the line. Humana also deployed an AI tool called Agent Assist to over 20,000 of their member advocates who handle 80 million calls a year. The AI summarized calls in real time, pulled up benefit details, and gives compliance guidance while the human advocate talks to the member. Cambridge Health Alliance, a safety net system in Massachusetts, has AI answering calls and routing patients in multiple language. So why does this matter to you in your job search? Because every one of these systems generates data, a massive amount of data. This is also why I believe that AI is going to be creating more jobs in data, because it's going to generate, these systems are going to generate so much data. And then also, because programming and software becomes more readily available because people can now vibe code them and create them from scratch, this means there's more data that's broken. It means that there needs more opportunities to support these software, because a lot of people do not take into consideration the maintenance, the enhancements to maintain all of this software. So that is the opportunity. So you have a lot of data that will be in call volume, resolution rates, patient satisfaction scores, scheduling efficiency. Someone has to analyze whether these AI tools are actually working, and someone has to build the reports and dashboards that leadership uses to decide whether they should expand these programs or pull them back. That is going to be analyst work that is still needed. Now, Oracle released a clinical AI agent that generates notes for emergency departments and inpatient settings across 30 specialties. Epic, the biggest EHR vendor in the country, in the US, announced over 85% of their customers already use their AI products. They previewed a platform called Agent Factory that lets healthcare systems build their own custom agents inside EHR. Now, here is where it gets interesting for anyone that's trying to break in, because that was still interesting, but let's take it up to another level. Every single one of these AI tools needs to be checked by humans. This is something that I just keep talking about over and over again, not just deployed and forgotten. And the teams and the people who do are going to be sorely met with errors and issues later. You need validations. You need some of them that monitor it. You need someone that measures it. These healthcare systems aren't just turning AI and walking away, because that is a recipe for disaster, because we're in high regulatory and high compliance environment where any errors could be $1 million mistakes. They're asking, you have to verify the output. So what these companies are now asking for is this tool generating accurate outputs. Are the claims it processing hitting the right codes? Are the notes it's writing clinically sound? Is it performing the same today as it did last month? And if you know anything about AI drift, with some of these models and some of the training on it, there is drift that can happen within the models and their performance. And if you have nobody that knows how to track that or monitor that, then you have an issue. But when you can learn about that and you understand that that's a new opportunity, you have a new lane of data analytics that you can go into within healthcare. That is AI validation work. It's data work. You're pulling outputs, you're comparing against them against known standards, building dashboards that track accuracy rates, error patterns over time, flagging when something drifts. A year ago, almost none of these roles existed in healthcare analytics. Now it's one of the biggest conversations in the entire conference. And most people online aren't even talking about this inside healthcare analytics or even just data analytics. Now, one thing I want to talk about that I haven't seen anyone talk about yet, and I want to get on your radar, is a cybersecurity angle. So think about it this way: when you start a new job, you get a badge, a login, set of permissions that determine what systems you have access to. That is your identity inside the organizations. Now, with agents becoming a mainstream thing and more companies adopting it, AI agents need the same thing. An agent that processes a claim, schedules a patient, or accesses a medical record needs its own digital credentials, its own login. Basically, industry calls these non-human identities. Now, here is the problem. Digital credentials are multiplying way faster than security teams can track. So according to the Cloud Security Alliance, 78% of organizations don't have formal policies for creating or removing AI identities. So think about that. Most organizations have agents actively running in their systems right now, accessing patient data, processing claims, and they don't have a formal process for managing those credentials. At HIMSS, Imprivata launched a product specifically for managing AI agents' identities. Their chief medical officer, Dr. Sean Kelly, said non-human identity is even harder than human identity to control and to understand. Now, this is something this is something you Now, is this something that you need to be an expert in to land your first healthcare analytics job? No. But the reason why I'm telling you this is because healthcare organizations are starting to figure out how to monitor and report on AI agent access. Who accessed the system when and was it authorized? That's also a data and reporting problem, and it's brand new. Nobody has 10 years of experience in this because it didn't exist 10 years ago. People who learn it now will have less competition. And I'm not saying that this is something that you have to learn. I'm just saying this is one of those trends that you need to keep up with because there's going to be more opportunities like this and more job opportunities that pop up that weren't there previously due to AI. Now, don't make this your whole career bet. I'm just saying keep it on your radar and follow the trends because organizations hiring analysts right now are trying to solve this problem, and knowing it exists will put you ahead. Now, let's bring this all back to you because I know what you might be thinking. This sounds exciting, but I'm still just trying to get my first job. And here's the honest truth. None of this is going to replace the fundamentals. You still need SQL. You still need to understand data visualization. You still need the domain knowledge in healthcare. Those are the table stakes, but the table stakes get you into the pile. They don't get you they don't get you the interview. The people that are going to stand out in 2026 and 2027 are the ones who can walk into the interview and talk about what's actually happening in the industry, not just a textbook that says healthcare analytics looks like this. But you need to be able to talk to what it looks like today and how it's changing, like with AI agents processing claims, with new CMS rules requiring faster prior authorization decisions, with health systems standing up entire teams around AI validation. So here's what I would do if I were breaking in right now. One, I would learn how to use agentic tools for the work that you're already learning. I'm not talking about building agents from scratch, unless you want to do that after you have the foundations. What I'm talking about is tools like Microsoft Copilot. And I know Microsoft Copilot is not exciting and you would rather use other tools like Claude or even ChatGPT, even though ChatGPT is underneath Copilot. Sometimes you have to work with what the companies that you're going to be working for give you access to. And a lot of the top healthcare companies, because they have these licensing and partnerships with Microsoft, right now, a lot of them only have access to Copilot. So do your research on the different companies that you'll be working with. And if it looks like they're only stuck within Microsoft Copilot, unfortunately, that is the tool that you're gonna have to learn. But it's still helpful. I covered Copilot's latest updates in a previous video, and I found in my own work that the new agentic capabilities, especially within Excel, have made my Excel reporting and financial models significantly more complex, more powerful, and visually appealing. So starting from scratch with just a good specification, it will get me a significant amount of time to where I'm not starting from scratch and I can just build and fix the tiny errors that it has moving forward. I've built new prompts and processes that produce work that I couldn't have manually done in that same time. It's speeding me up significantly. So if you're learning SQL, Python, Excel, add this question to everything that you do. How would I use AI to do this faster and better? That's going to be the skill set that employers are looking for. Not can you use AI? Can you use AI to improve healthcare work? And a lot of people are not featuring this inside their resumes or in their portfolio project. And that is another place. You have, if you, especially if you have existing portfolio projects, ask yourself, how can I improve this with AI? And then now you have a before and after of how you improve your portfolio project, of how long it took you previously, and what can you add to cut that time in half. Maybe you can cut it down to a few minutes. Try to think outside the box and how to apply AI so that you can get hired and have an edge better. Now, two, I would pay attention to revenue cycle and claims analytics. It's the area with the most AI investment right now because it's where the money is. It's generating a massive amount of data that needs human analysis, and you're building a portfolio. So build a something that looks like an actual claims analysis or claims denial trend reporting, not just another Spotify, Netflix, Titanic dashboard, but build something specifically for healthcare around these two problems. Now, three, what I would do next is I would understand AI validation, what it looks like in actual practice with real data. You could do this with your projects. When a healthcare system deploys an AI tool, somebody has to check whether it's working correctly. What metrics would you track? How would you build a dashboard that monitors AI accuracy over time? If you can talk about this in an interview, you're speaking a language that most candidates don't even know exists, and they're not putting it on their resume or portfolio. You don't need to be the person that's running a governance program or be on the cybersecurity side. You just need to be the analyst who knows how to pull the data, build the reports, and then flag when something is wrong when you're using AI to speed up. Now, four, this is the other thing I would just keep up with, is knowing what is actually happening in the industry. So right now, CMS prior authorizations rules went into effect January 1st of this year. Now, this requires certain payers to respond to urgent requests and inquiries within 72 hours and then standard requests within 7 days. That used to take up to 2 weeks. Faster decisions mean more data flowing faster, and that means more analytics works to monitor and report on and to be faster about it. And if you know this stuff, you'll already have an edge over other candidates who are only focused on the technical skills, which is a lot of people. They just look at tutorials, they do certifications, but they don't understand or try to learn the domain knowledge to actually break into their niche. And healthcare is one of the best places to break into. Now, healthcare analytics market is on track for massive growth. The field is not shrinking, it's transforming, and transformations create openings for people who see the change early and position for it before everyone catches up. That gap between fax machines and AI agents is not a problem for your career, it's the opportunity, and now you know about it. So if you're serious about breaking into healthcare analytics and you want help putting together a plan and support for everything that I just talked about, I have a community called Healthcare Analytics Lab. It's application only right now. And inside, it's exactly how to position yourself, build a portfolio that doesn't look like student work, and get support to help you break into data analytics. Links are in the description below if you're interested. And query responsibly and watch this next video. YouTube thinks you'll like it.